All right, everyone, so we were talking about the 3 most forgiving irons in 2023. If you're looking for an iron just to help you hit it really far, really straight, probably even really high, these are the irons for you. Brought Connie Chen along here to help us out. Played professionally in the European Ladies Tour, even won once. Gonna hit these shots for us and show us really what you can do with these on the good shots, and maybe we'll even keep a couple bad ones in there just so you can see how forgiving they really are. Whenever we're talking about forgiving irons though, Connie, there's a couple features that really come to mind. One is typically going to be wider soles. That's going to help to move the CG deeper in the head, as well as help when you do hit a little bit fat. Typically these irons are going to be a little bit more offset, so Connie's typically to the left. That offset where the shaft sits a little bit more forward than the face, that's only going to make that problem worse. But you at home, if you do slice, having offset's only going to help you out. And then typically all these irons are also going to have a hollow body construction that just helps to increase the ball speed. So let's get to it. Our number 3 most forgiving iron for 2023 is going to come to us from Mizuno, the JPX 923 Hot Metal. But the HL this year, traditionally we've seen the last couple of years, irons are becoming stronger and stronger in lofts. There's a certain player that's really good for, but there's some players where that just makes them hit it lower, and many times that means you're going to hit it shorter as well. So this sounds like you. Mizuno 923 Hot Metal HL stands for high launch. It's going to be awesome. Really what they've done is taken some of the technology from the Hot Metal, but then they've added loft. This one comes in with about 31 degrees of loft in the 7 iron, and that sole is even a little bit wider, moves the CG farther back, helps you hit it a little bit higher. But that's what Connie's here for. She's going to test this thing out. We'll take a look at some numbers and see how it performs. Let's talk about all 3 of those shots, Connie. They all started off to the right and drew a little bit extra. We mentioned that offset of the iron is going to really want to cause that type of ball flight. So like we said, if you slice, having offset's a good thing for you. But give me feedback about the club when you put it down. How's it look? How's it feel? Talk about some of these shots.
It doesn't look too overly chunky from the top looking down. Even the second shot I hit a little fat, but overall it launched high as well. Still drew, which is great for someone who's a high handicapper who struggles slicing it, and yeah, overall very forgiving.
Right, awesome, and that second shot is exactly what that wide sole's for. If you do hit it a little bit heavy, it's still going to be a usable shot. It might go a little bit shorter than if you were to hit it perfect, but these irons rather are really about the miss hits. When you do hit it in different spots across the face, you'll at least get similar results. So let's take a look at those results and see how the club performed. We do see ball speed at 105, backspin 4100. The number we really want to pay attention to as we test some of these different irons is going to be that launch angle. So you're just shy of 17 degrees in the launch, and we saw 150 yards average carry distance. But I even want to look down here at the shot to shot because you hit all 3 of them slightly different. The first one you hit really solid, had a total carry of 153. If we look at that second shot that you said you hit a little bit fat, it still carried 147. So again, depending on the green, that might even be on the green, or like worst case scenario, you're just short of it. So it's still a really usable shot, and that's what these forgiving irons are designed to do. The last shot, I would say you even hit it just ever so slightly thin, and it went 149. So we see 3 shots that were different enough across the face. They all had the exact same curve. But then the distance was very similar as well. So for a player, again, that wants to hit a little bit higher and is looking for that forgiveness from shot to shot, Hot Metal HL is definitely one to take a look at. But we have 2 more that are even more forgiving. Ready to test them out?
Oh yeah.
All right, Connie, so this number 2 iron that we're going to test here is going to be the Ping G430. Really no surprise there. Their G series is always one of the most forgiving irons that we test. So G430 has a lot of similarities with some new tech they added in as well. Similarities, a little thicker sole in the toe to help with those heavy shots, but then it does taper to a fairly narrow sole. So if you are going through some heavier rough, this iron will still work out for you just fine. And we do have a 17.4 stainless steel face. It helps to increase some ball speeds. At least comparing it to the HL, we are at 29 degrees of loft, so it's slightly stronger. Again, if you need to hit it higher, you can go retro spec. You need to hit it lower, they do a power spec option, just changes the loft around a little bit. But then they've done a little bit of a change with their badging in the back of the club this year, and this is far more than aesthetics. There's a functionality to this badging where it's actually separate pieces that helps with vibration dampening to create a really soft feel, but there's also some redirecting of the energy back into the club as well, which only helps us to hit the ball a little bit farther. Now, when it comes to this iron, it's going to be a little bit more offset than the 923 Hot Metal HL that we hit, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the ball curve a little bit more to the left, but for your players that do struggle with a slice, that's only going to help them even more. So just like before, let's hit about 3 shots with our Ping G430, and then we will take a look at the results. All right, Connie, so we saw 3 really similar shots. They're landing within a couple feet of each other, and everything drew just kind of like we thought they would, especially with that offset in the iron. We'll talk about the numbers in a second, but give me your thoughts. When you put it down, how's it look? How's it feel when you hit it?
I think it looks great. The second shot, I actually hit it slightly out the heel.
Okay.
Result was still around the first shot where I hit quite well. The last one, I sort of hit it a little bit thin. Even that had good distance, so there's not much difference between the 3 shots in terms of distance, in terms of the curve on the ball. So it's great if you're looking for consistency.
Yeah, exactly, and that's really the name of the game when it comes to these max forgiving irons is whenever you hit it in varying locations across the face, you're going to see similar results. So let's take a look at the results here now on the screen and talk a little bit more about how this club performed.
Oh yeah.
All right, Connie, so we'll take a look at the G430. We see almost identical ball speed compared to the JPX that we just hit, which again, it is really no surprise. We're hitting the latest technology in all these irons. We also see the exact same distance. It's just kind of interesting to then talk about how we got there. So we do see that you did launch this one ever so slightly lower, which again, the loft on the G430 is ever so slightly lower than we saw in the JPX. And then just it was 1 mile an hour faster. With that, those just kind of bounced out. It's just really 2 slightly different ball flights whenever you compare the G430 back to the HL. Again, if you did need to hit it a little bit higher, you do have some options with both of them. You could add a little bit more loft, going retro spec in the Ping, or just weakening the loft, or could do the opposite, strengthen them or go power spec. But like we've been saying, that's number 2. We still have number 1, most forgiving iron in 23. You ready?
Oh yeah.
All right, let's do the last one. All right, Connie, you ready? Our number 1 most forgiving iron in 2023. I must say this iron has a face built for radio, but this thing works, and that's going to be our TaylorMade Stealth HD. This really has all the technology built into it to do one thing, and that is to be as forgiving as possible and to help you hit the ball really high. So if we take a look at this, it is a very unique design whenever it comes to the profile of the iron. We see that the height of the iron is very shallow. What that's designed to do is move as much mass down below the equator of the golf ball. The more we can get the CG of the club below the equator of the golf ball, that's just going to help us hit higher and higher shots. So not only is just the height of the blade very shallow, even just the amount that the middle of the sole comes down below, like the heel and toe area, is far greater as well too. So it's a very unique design when it comes to the Stealth HD. We also see probably the widest sole of the bunch. And like we said before, that's just moving the CG farther and farther back. And this is the only iron that does have the through speed slot design on the bottom, and TaylorMade's been doing that for a number of years now. Really what that allows for is just when you do hit a shot a little bit thin, it allows you to maintain the ball speed, hopefully still hit the ball a very similar distance. So we've also set this one up with a little bit more loft. We're at 32 degrees in the Stealth HD. So again, I'm expecting to see some of the highest launch numbers with this, but ultimately that's why we test it. We'll test it and see how it performs, and then get your feedback as well. All right, Connie, so let's take a look. Worth noting, I think this is the only iron, that last one didn't quite overdraw. The first 2 shots you overdrew, which again is no surprise. It is the most offset of all the irons that we tested. We also saw some of the highest launch angles. I think the second one was almost at 19 degrees. We'll take a look at the numbers and talk about it. But when you put it down, give me your thoughts. How's it look? How's it feel?
Brad, so my first initial thought when I put it down was actually looks like one of those chipper helpers. Mm-hmm. Right, so I think it's great for people who really struggle with their irons, who lack a lot of confidence when they look down at irons. And yeah, for sure, when you put this down, I mean, you feel like you can do this all day.
Yeah, and I think to your point, it's got a super unique design, and there's just tons of function behind it. It does what it's supposed to do, so which is hit the ball really high and straight. Let's take a look at the numbers here and really see how it performed, all right? All right, Connie, so Stealth HD, let's take a look. The first number I really want to talk about, we're going to get right to it. It's going to be our launch angle. We have an average launch angle of just under 17 degrees. That is the highest we saw of all 3, which is no surprise. Again, that's what that iron is designed to do. We even saw that second shot you launched at just a little bit over 18 degrees. So if it is somebody that their problem is hitting the ball high in the air, this would be a great option to at least test out. We take a look at some of the other numbers. We also see the backspin increase. You're at about 4,700 on this one. So again, that is something that's going to help you to hold greens, but also the more backspin you have just helps you to keep the ball in the air longer and higher as well too. Overall distance was 146, so again, very similar across the board. We saw 145, that second one hit really high was 153. And then the last one, 140. So again, a little variance in the distances there, but the story with this iron is it drew the most. It's the most offset, it's supposed to do that. And it went the highest, which again is exactly what it's designed to do. So a little bit of an unconventional look, but if really the results are what somebody is focused on, I think they definitely need to try out the Stealth HD. I think it's gonna help them fix those problems with that very unique design. So, if forgiveness is really what you are focused on when it comes to your next set of irons, you could really try any of these out. I'm sure one of them will be a great fit. But really what you should do is set up a fitting and go through the process, hit them, see how your launch numbers are, but also see what looks good to your eye, what feels nice when you hit it, and there's no better place to do that than GOLFTEC. The way to get started, log on to golftec.com and find a GOLFTEC coach near you.